I'm Raven Rollins, your host, and today's guest is Dan Brown Jr. of Crime Sonics, a composer and filmmaker who spent the last 4 years creating one of the most emotionally charged independent documentaries in recent memory. With emotionally raw interviews, a haunting soundtrack, including the original song Raise Cain, composed and produced by Dan Brown Jr., and a storytelling style that doesn't flinch, Girl Forgotten challenges everything we think we know about justice, victimhood, and who gets to be remembered. Girl Forgotten, what happened to Brianna Wells?
I'm only making this video because I had a friend who was murdered.
We want to begin with breaking news.
Teenager found dead in an alley, now identified as 17-year-old Brianna Wells.
I cannot believe this case is still unsolved.
My mom, she has an obsessive way of thinking about things.
There's too many murders in your neighborhood. Too many crimes.
These alleys in Phoenix, they are like secret veins of the city.
One thing that really disturbed me was the way the media was portraying her.
Because she wasn't a runaway troubled teen like they said she was.
I just want to find out who did this and why.
You know, that's when I realized that it was a body. It was a female body.
Right here, right behind here, a 17-year-old girl was murdered.
Today, we are announcing an investigation into the Phoenix Police Department.
I wanted to ask you if you know anything about this case.
Are they doing their job?
My God, you talk to everybody. It's homicide investigation 101.
Every time somebody looks at this case or reads anything about this case, the first thing the public says is, where is the family and why aren't they doing anything?
I can live with it if it's not solved.
We as first responders, if there's anything that we could help, we would do it. Unfortunately, in this case, we were not able to do that.
If we all live in fear, then we're going to let the monsters rule everything.
You're going to line up your sights. You're going to point it.
I've been in your community, I've been in your churches. I need to drive a hero out of that neighborhood.
It's not been forgotten now.
Do stories that should not slip through the cracks, slip through the cracks? Yeah, it happens.
From chilling novels and psychological thrillers to horror short stories, film and screenplays, to true crime, podcasts, music, and the art of storytelling itself, Dreadfully Yours invites listeners into conversations with the minds behind the stories that stay with us. Hosted by author, audiobook narrator, and podcaster Raven Rollins, each chapter blends cinematic narration with intimate discussions exploring creativity, suspense, and the human experiences woven into dark storytelling. Welcome to the show, where stories linger long after the last page. This is Dreadfully Yours.
On December 29th, 2014, 17-year-old Brianna Wells was found murdered, her body dumped in a South Phoenix alley like discarded trash. She'd vanished just days earlier after spending the holidays with her adopted family. Despite the brutality of her death and the chilling scene where she was found, Brianna's case received very little media attention. The Phoenix Police Department labeled it a gang-related homicide with minimal public explanation, and then seemed to move on. But not everyone did. The film follows Gina, a devoted advocate who became a grassroots investigator after being haunted by the lack of justice in Brianna's case. Through Gina's determined lens, the film unearths failures in the police investigation, raises questions about the environment Brianna was living in, and exposes uncomfortable truths about systematic neglect. The full documentary is set to premiere at the Pollock Theater in Brianna's hometown, raising long overdue awareness about a case that continues to demand answers. Dan joins us today to talk about the making of the film, the roadblocks he faced along the way, and why Brianna Wells' name still matters, because no girl deserves to be forgotten.
For Brianna.
first, I just want to tell you it's awesome to finally be on here with. Yeah, I mean, you know what can I share with you, which is not just kind of like widely known or out there on the ethernets or something. Love crime music. I love that dark kind of sound, and I'm not a dark person at all, even though it's kind of dark in my studio a lot of times. My default is a happy guy, you know, quite happy dude all the time, and just something about that off-kilter, uneasy, tension, pulsy, I don't know, something about that kind of music. I just really love it.
That's stuff you hear in the background. In like unsolved mysteries, that's like ingrained in, like, because most of us who are in true crime, that's where we started, was almost all of us, unsolved mysteries. And those sounds were just kind of brought into everything we know today that's, you know, true crime doco, and it's very nostalgic.
Yeah, it is. And hopefully we get to talk a lot about Brianna's, not just the documentary, but the score behind it, because and not to like jump ahead, but like one of the things about her film is it's not a typical kind of crime film. It's not shot that way, and the score is actually a score. It's very focused on solo violin, solo viola, solo cello. Mm-hmm. And those three instruments become characters throughout the film. So it's not even what you'd normally expect to hear. It's just, I just try to do something really different with this one.
I love, like, even in podcasting, I love like backing music and soundtracks, and there are so many people that differ on that. Like, usually now I'm just using it, like this season we're just going with music because it's what I want to do. Most of the time, like, I feel like it brings something, like you can tell a story with music also, so I always love to use it, so I'm going for it this season. Sorry guys.
That's awesome. Yeah, you got my vote. I mean, you know, how boring is a film or a piece of content you're watching online that has no music?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like the music is not just pushing the narrative, but it's also, I've shared in other podcasts about the ability to trick your audience, teach them subtext. You know, when you juxtapose the right piece of music against that footage, sometimes like what you're seeing and what you're hearing are at odds. They're incongruent. And when they're incongruent at times, like that's a whole other message that you're sending to an audience. So I can talk about that stuff all day long.
Exactly. Yeah. You can kind of tell your audience how at least maybe how you're feeling when you created it, or even how you think they should be feeling in this time. Like it speaks. I'm telling you, music speaks. So that's what you do at Crime Sonics, right?
Yeah, Crime Sonics predominant. Well, I tell you, we're changing it up too. But yeah, we have a massive library, about 200 volumes right now. But really, we have about 300 volumes of content that's coming out. Wow. And it's everything that you could think of done at the highest level, in my opinion. But not just my opinion, but the opinion of most people. Cybercrime, Southern justice. You know, I've shared it before, I share it again. You know, the sound of crime in 20s Chicago doesn't sound like Austin, Texas.
Exactly.
And Austin, Texas doesn't sound like Phoenix, Arizona. And, you know, and Phoenix, Arizona doesn't sound like New York City. Like all these places, these regions, these locations. So, and then depending on what the story is about, you know, if you have someone, like for example, if you have an individual who maybe grew up, you know, in like a Native American community in Arizona, but then they moved to upstate New York, and then they bring themselves, their culture, their background to that other location. And then if, you know, crimes are committed, if we're pushing story forward, now you're blending these two worlds to create something incredibly unique. So what's the sound of Native American crime and upstate New York crime, and what if it took place in the 80s? Yeah. So that becomes like an interesting soup of sound, and I love that. I just love it. So Crime Sonics is a library. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you kind of think of like a traditional library. It's full of volumes, and then the volumes on the inside of that, you kind of think of it as chapters, really. Like layman speak is like every volume is like a CD. Remember back in the day? Yeah. Remember we had those? Right? It's like, it's a mixtape. And so like if we did, for example, you know, cybercrime, you know, our volume or our CD, our collection here, it would be, for us, it's 10 tracks, and then all of the stems, all of the breakdowns of those 10 tracks. And it's written by various composers. I am our most prolific composer, just in amount of content. I mean, everyone that writes for Crime Sonics is amazing, but I write the most, and I am our sole sound designer. So I do all the sounds that you hear in the shows, and the hits and the knocks and the creepy scrapes and all that really atmospheric stuff. And you really don't know what that stuff is, but it makes you feel a way.
Yeah.
I'm doing all that for Crime Sonics, but yeah, that's predominantly what we do. But then there's other things, and then which brings us to Brianna's film. That's a whole other thing.
Well, where have we heard Crime Sonics?
Everywhere. I would say at this point, I mean, it's literally thousands of, we have tens of thousands of uses of our music, hundreds of shows. I mean, every show that you can think of probably has something from Crime Sonics in there. And if they don't, what is he doing, bro?
What are you even doing out there?
What are they doing? Like what do you sound like?
And I think you have a lot of things listed on the website. I believe I saw Netflix, Hulu, stuff like that. So you guys out there, if you want to really know, go check out the website. It's crimesonics.com, right?
Crimesonics.com.
There you go.
If you just click on just the about, like Dan Brown Jr.'s About Me, you'll see our bio. It's like the amount of stuff is like, yeah, and it's constant. We have a global deal with a big distributor, and we send them lots of content, and it goes out all over the world. So we have stuff I see uses of our music in all manner of country. And awesome. I love seeing country, like there's all these great crime shows in Australia. I've never really seen anything but like little clips, but they're on our royalty statements a lot, so it is fun to see all these shows that we're not getting over here in the U.S., but they are also using Crime Sonics. So
wow,
it's pretty cool.
That's really cool. What made you want to make this switch to a documentary? Because you're doing just like a full-blown documentary, right? You're doing music, you're doing video, you're doing it all.
Yeah, well, it's a great question. It's really a passion of arts. I would say that. I mean, just like being behind a camera is just as I don't even know how to articulate what I'm thinking. I love being right here where we are right now talking in the studio. Yeah. I love it. And right now, this is where I am. It's like getting all the mix done for the score. Like Brianna's film is done. Everything is done. Color's done. Titles are done. Animation's done. Everything. Sound design's done. The dialogue is done. The score is written and then recorded by all the real performers. And now we're just mixing all of those incredible performances. So I love this. Having said that, I can only sit in this dark room in this chair for 4 or 5 days, and then I'm like, I gotta get out of this chair, dude.
I feel that.
I gotta get out of this chair, homie. And so where maybe someone else would say like they're just a composer or just a sound designer, I'm not that way at all. I am just a creative dude, and I've been behind the lens for just as long as I've been behind the notes on the page. I mean, I think it's an equal skill set for me. So to be out there in the field filming in Arizona, I mean, I need those changes. And then also, when you shoot your own documentary and you edit your own documentary, like every interview in that film, I conducted. All that investigation I conducted. So you think it's difficult to write the music? Not at all. I heard a lot of the music when we're filming. For example, there's a scene in the film, this lovely guy named Jorge, he is the one that actually found Brianna that morning. He was taking out the trash and he found her body in the alley. And so when we filmed with Jorge, while we are filming, I'm hearing the music in my head.
Wow.
So you get in the car, you like sing it into your phone or whatever, so don't forget it. And then, flash forward a couple of years, because a big film of this size with a very small crew, it's like it takes a long time. It's like amazing to sit in here and then have a concert violinist right next to me, and then he's playing the stuff that I wrote, but I heard it in my head when this lovely guy is pointing to the ground where a 17-year-old girl was murdered. So I just think it's It's the whole, I don't know, man. I'm a weird dude. It's a whole thing.
It's the ambiance.
It's the whole thing. It's the whole thing.
So, this is your first documentary, right?
It's the first documentary that's like feature length, full size. We've done short form content, won a bunch of big awards for stuff like that. This is our first full length film. And when I say like full length, it's beyond full length. It's a 3.5 hour documentary.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a beast. And again, it's not shot like crime TV, which I love crime TV. Crime Science, we provide that music and sound. But as a filmmaker, that's not my style.
Yeah.
Like, we shot this thing like a narrative. Like, when you can probably see it from the trailer, it just doesn't feel like a typical, like, crime show.
That trailer is dope.
Thanks. Yeah. Go watch it. Share it everywhere. Yeah, it's just a different kind of thing. Like, I wanted to create the kind of crime film experience that I wanted to, watch and be a part of. I didn't know it was going to become such a big part of my life.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with creators, though, is that once you figure out that you can create things that you want to consume, well, then it just kind of sets you free. Because that's what I did with my books, Like,
come on,
I write how I want to read.
And how many do you have now?
Oh, I have 2 true crime.
I mean, I see it right. Look at that. Raven has got the. Come on, see. I can high five you from the screen. It's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
I mean, when you take on something like this, I know from the documentary, when you take on something like this, you eat, sleep, live, breathe this case for, however long it takes. And then you never fully get rid of it. Even when you're done, you're still like pushing this case, especially if it's a cold case. You're always, it's like you've adopted this person into your life until you die. And you will advocate for them forever.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think what will be really interesting and maybe even frustrating to the audience, which I won't get ahead of the film now, but it's a cold case and it's unresolved. And we leave the film in a place where you just want so much more. And I'll let the cat out of the bag. We know so much more.
Yeah.
And there is so much more. And I'll just say there might be more. And I can't tell you that this film is, even though it's done and it will be released, I would never say that we're not already looking at the rest of it and making a second one.
Yeah.
So, for this young lady.
So this is your first feature length. What brought you to this case, and how did you kind of choose this case as your feature length documentary?
Yeah, we were traveling back from an event called CrimeCon in Austin, and we drove it from LA to Austin. So we're traveling back through Phoenix, and Phoenix is a place that I have vacationed many times. I love it. I love being in the desert. And so I was just having a conversation with my son at that time, and we had been kicking around documentaries and things. And so I just remember saying something, or at least pocketing it away in my mind, where if we're going to do a film and it's going to be, ultra high level, spare no expense kind of a thing, I'm going to do it in Phoenix, because I'd like to shoot it somewhere that looks interesting, sounds interesting. I love the heat. So I'm going to do it there. So anyway, I started looking into cold cases. I came across 4 of them. One of the cold cases, I think I spoke with the guy that killed this lady, have a 45-minute conversation with this guy, and I left that conversation going like, I think this guy killed this lady. That was crazy. And then there was another case where I just could not get anyone to talk to me, couldn't anything. So that was kind of frustrating. There was another lady who's become kind of a friend of mine. It's so tragic. Her husband, the way I understand it, he retired. I think he was like a firefighter or something. He took like a job as like a security guard guy, just to like patrol around on a bike at night. It's warm at night in Arizona, it's beautiful. And he's gunned down, murdered on his bike, unsolved. And yeah, and she and I still speak to this day. Like, we still speak. And we were gonna try to meet up last time we were filming in Phoenix. And it just, it never works out. Like where she's positioned and where I am, it just doesn't work. So then I see this photo of this little girl named Brianna, and when I saw her little face, I go, okay, that's interesting. I didn't expect to see like such a cute little kid, and it's an unsolved homicide. So I start poking around, and there's nothing. There's nothing out there. It's like there's like hints of a podcast episode, but you can't find it. It's like you try to click on an article and it's been taken down. The news hasn't really reported on it. And anything that I could find was like years ago.
Jeez.
Like right when it happened. But then there was like, even that, I mean, that kind of made her look bad. And then I found this lady who's kind of poking around on Reddit sites and just kind of commenting on stuff. And I was like, okay, who's this lady? Is this like a relative or something? She's kind of a go-getter. She seems like invested in this. And so come to find out that the lady that you see in the trailer, her name is Gina. She, it's easy to understand, hard to explain. So Gina, who's really the subject of our film, she is the mother of a lovely young lady named Bridget. Bridget was one of Brianna's best friends. Brianna was tragically murdered. So you have Brianna murdered, her friend Bridget's mom, Gina, is like the one out there doing all the work.
Wow.
I was like, that seems strange. So after I had initial conversation with her, I realized like, okay, this is a bizarre one. This is bizarre. And I said, why don't we come out? Why don't we meet? Let's see what happens. Let's start talking. Let's start filming some stuff. And once we poked around, started realizing like what was going on, like with the community and the family and like just the whole story. It was like, oh yeah, I'm not going anywhere. This young girl's story is going to be told. I had a conversation with Brianna's dad, and it's just such an unfortunate situation with that guy. And I actually still hold out hope that through the whole process of us working on the film, even doing these podcast interviews, that he'll come to the realization that like, oh, maybe I really misread the room. Maybe I totally like, you know, I think he's had people in the past, podcasters, just true crime people, maybe, you know, insensitive people. I just think I don't know. But when I reached out to him, I just don't think he realized what it is that we were willing to do and still are and have done thus far. I mean, when I realized like what was kind of going on with the family, then I thought, okay, I think there's a story that needs to be told here because, you know, it's just some. Here's what I'll share with you. There's no guesswork here. I'm not like wondering. Mm-hmm. We have all of the police reports, toxicology, Brianna's journals. We have all the crime scene photos. We have. I've conducted more interviews than the Phoenix Police Department in regard to Brianna's homicide. We actually investigated 2 homicides around this to make. I'll just hint at that. I really had to investigate 2 different homicides. Wow. I've interviewed people from her school, her church, friends of her siblings, Brianna's friends, her boyfriend's family. I mean, it's just like, just the entire circle. Like you can really start to understand someone's life, even without the cooperation of her family. And, you know, when you interview all these people from all these different walks of life, and they're all telling you exactly the same stuff without any coaching. I'm a real interviewer. I'm not asking or poking or asking with answers. Yeah. Just, tell me about Brianna. You know, these kind of open questions, but then they always end up in the same place. It's kind of like, okay. Yeah, so you pocket all that stuff away, and then you look at it against police reports and details and journals and Brianna's own journal writing, and you're like, okay, yeah, this all makes sense. So it was at that point when I realized, like, I can't let the story go untold because it's solvable. It's really solvable. Yeah. I think I know exactly who killed her. I think I know exactly where that person is right now. Oh, wow. I think we can explain away things at her crime scene that I know the Phoenix police are scratching their head about, and it's because they haven't interviewed everyone that they need to. There's a lot of people, and people are willing to talk, especially when relationships break up, marriages break up. It's been 10 years after the fact, and things change. People change. People want to talk. Stories like this have an ability of wanting to be solved.
Yeah.
what happened to Brianna. I believe this was 2014, and she was 17.
Yeah, exactly right. It's terrible. It was in December. Initially, the news was kind of like murky on what actually happened to her. But she and like, was she murdered there? Was she murdered somewhere else? I won't give it all away now because it's in the film. But yeah, she was tragically murdered. Yeah, it's just incredibly sad. And from all outside appearances, like no one has any idea what's going on. It's like super cold, but that's just not the case. Like it's just, pun intended, like it's a very solvable case. But yeah, a girl that should not have been in South Phoenix. And I will share this, where Brianna is a place called Tempe, Arizona. Tempe's got a lot of really nice parts to it, if you like the flat Arizona heat. I live like in the Santa Monica Mountains, like, so it's a different world over here. But like, if you like flat heat, Tempe's a good spot to be. Where she was murdered was South Phoenix, and that's a really dangerous place. Are there good people in South Phoenix? Absolutely. We've interviewed with a lot of them. It's an amazing place. There's amazing people there. Is there a sense of community there? Absolutely. It's one of those places that it's like a conundrum or something. It's like you go down the wrong street and you will likely find yourself in harm's way. It's easy to get murdered there. There's a lot of killings there. We go into it really deeply in our film, actually. It's about how dangerous it is. In the film, there's a couple of guys who are retired law enforcement, homicide, undercover people, and they say, like, I never wanted to go down there. I'd bring a partner. I was armed, and I didn't want to go down there.
Jeez.
So yeah, so that's where it happened, and she should have never been there. But there's a reason why she was there and who she was connected with, and it's not speculation. A lot of times in podcasts and things, like, there's a lot of speculation, like what about this, what about that, but that's not how we did this. I put about $250,000 into this film, and 4 years of my life into this film, and there's no speculation at this stage. Like, it's like, this is what happened to her. Charge that person.
Yeah.
So that's the hope after the film comes out, is we're going to bring, not just the film, but everything that we know, again, try to bring it back to the Phoenix police, and we'll see what happens. But it's a really corrupt police department. We plan to have some interaction with that person.
Did you interview that person?
Not yet.
I'm asking the preemptive questions.
well, it's one of those things where we could leave this, like, and again, we're working on it. I'm in here every day. I'm in here right now, worked on it all morning, getting this score done. I am trying to get this done now as fast as humanly possible without sacrificing anything. When it's done, it'll be out there on all the streamers. Could we walk away from this story and leave it as like who done it? And here's a hint at all this other information that we have. At the end of this film, you get privy to like some really interesting, like, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, really? Oh, it's over. What do you mean? Talk about cliffhanger. So I just don't think we could leave it there. I think we're going to have to continue. And I would like to see Brianna's receive the justice that she deserves.
Yeah.
Anyone in her situation deserves, especially a little kid,
Yeah. The title of your documentary is Girl Forgotten. And that's very powerful on its own. So I'm wondering, who forgot her? Was it law enforcement? Was it media? Was it society as a whole?
If I could just rephrase the question, it really doesn't matter it doesn't matter, in my opinion, who forgot her. What does matter is when her two best friends, her boyfriend, her boyfriend's family, her friends' families, her school, people at her church, who they say forgot her. And who they say forgot her is the community, mostly, the law enforcement, absolutely, media by and large. And it's not that her family forgot her, but the old saying, squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah.
The radio silent.
Mm-hmm. If you had to say the biggest flub from PD,
what would you say it is?
You asked it, and I've got like 14 answers. You got to do the whole job. A guy from LA should not come in and interview more people. And I mean people of substance who were with Brianna the night of her murder, who Brianna confided in 2 days before her murder. These people were never interviewed by the Phoenix. Her boyfriend was never interviewed by the Phoenix Police Department.
Gosh.
I mean, it's remarkable. Now, I'm a very pro-law enforcement guy, but I'm a believer. I'm a believer in Jesus. Like, I'm a believer that the light comes into the darkness, and that's what needs to happen in this case. And I just feel like the police department, they did. I mean, I have it sitting in this other room, the whole thing. I've been through it for years. Did they do a good job? You got to do the whole job. Did they do a bad job? You got to do the whole job.
Yeah.
You can't just stop. And when you try to interview someone and they don't show up or they stonewall you, you got to do the whole job, dude. You got to do the whole job. So we have all this information to bring them. Yeah. And you can appreciate, anyone can appreciate, giant caseload. Like, one of the things I'll share with you, when we asked the Phoenix Police, we attempted to ask the Phoenix Police Department on multiple occasions, which is in our film, just in Phoenix, how many unsolved homicides are there? We could never get an answer.
Wow.
So what we did was we were able to go out to this program that they have called Silent Witness. I can't vouch for the program after, stuff that happened behind the scenes, and it's a little bit in the film, but you can just tally up the number of flyers. Some of them are double homicides, triple homicides. I think in one situation it was like a whole family. And there's already 800 or 900 of those. And I can't assume that every unsolved homicide even gets that flyer. So basic math, it's in the thousands. It's in the thousands of unsolved homicides. So to kind of go back to what we're saying, like, you can understand when there's that amount of workload, there's only so many detectives, there's only so many people to work on it. You would just think that the little girl in the alley would be, in your crawl a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned, getting stonewalled and stuff. Where was your biggest challenges that you faced in the researching portion of this, the interviewing portion?
It's unfortunate that we didn't get to work with the family thus far. I keep saying that because I hold out hope, because at some point in time they're just going to realize, oh yeah, we kind of messed up with this dude, we should probably work with this guy. Hopefully, if you have half a brain, dude, I'm the guy to talk to. I'll say this: there's an interview that's incredibly valuable, has incredible evidentiary value to the Phoenix Police Department, which we're going to turn over to them. This person that we interviewed, active gang member, was with Brianna, the last, virtually every day for the last 2 weeks of her life, and up until 24 to 48 hours before her homicide. Brianna confided into this person. She was never interviewed by the Phoenix Police. It was very hard to get that interview. There are interviews like that. There's several that we have where, you might not be surprised, but the links that we would go to and through to get those interviews, it was quite substantial and quite dangerous. I always give a shout out on these podcasts. We had an incredible security team with us for the entire filming process, Delta Security in Phoenix, Arizona. There is no finer security team in that entire state, maybe in the country. They came alongside us, multiple unmarked cars, tactical guys, full-blown tactical gear, AR-15s at times when we're filming. It's a very dangerous place. And we'll be releasing a bunch of behind-the-scenes footage and photos and things of it. And just what makes it hard is being in that location, people not willing to talk. When we got that interview with that gang member, that person, I'm not saying if it's a man or a woman, that person, that gang member, told me, you have to obstruct my voice. You have to obstruct my face. They will kill me. They will kill me. Wow. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And so it's stuff like that. One of the things that we talk about right in the beginning of the film, text on the screen, you get to hear a little bit of the frustration. You would be disgusted disgusted, Raven, on how many people that would call Brianna her friend. They used to be friends with her, went to middle school with her, went to high school with her, or part of her church. You would be disgusted to know that they were too busy to talk about their friend, or they wanted me to pay them. That was really sad. So people wanted to make money off of her. It was like, my gosh, man.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Tragically, I had someone reach out to me with a message that said, you're just doing this for personal gain. It's like, do you have any idea
how much money you put from your pocket into it? Yeah.
I say it again. I'm not bragging. It's like, it's almost insanity. I put $250,000 into this thing. So you know, on Amazon, it's a $4 download. You think I did this for the money, dude?
Yeah.
I did it for your friend. I'm using quotes. We're not on camera here. I'm using quotes.
Yeah.
It's like, gosh, come on. It's like, there is a time and place. Like, you have to ask yourself, what legacy are you leaving?
Exactly.
And I would hope that at least when anyone would think of me, it's like, well, that guy really tried to fight for a girl that even if we get her the justice that she should have, it's not like she's going to high five me.
Yeah.
She's gone.
Yeah.
She's not going to thank me. She's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where it's, you can't solve everyone. Not every case gets a documentary, but this one did and is, and I wouldn't change it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree with you there, because that's kind of exactly how I think of it. Is like, what legacy am I leaving behind? What do I want my kids to think about me? My kiddo. Like, I want him to look back and go, she did the right thing. She advocated. She spoke up for people who could no longer speak. $1 per book,
Come on. There's been a lot of those kind of comments throughout the years. And, again, like, one would wonder, like, why does it take so long? Well, we do other stuff. I can't just work on Brianna's film all day, every day. It has been that way now. It's like, I've really dedicated all the time to getting it finished. And it's it's a long burn. It's really, we are kicking around still, even at this stage. Should I just cut the thing into 3 1-hour episodes? I'm kind of leaning that way. Yeah. I may still have like a long burn version of it. I don't know about you, but like when I watch films, even like a normal length film, I usually don't finish it in one sitting. I might go back the next night. So regardless, it's one of these things where I hope to have created an environment in her film where you feel it. You feel Arizona, you feel the heat. The B-roll is just like, it's just like you're really in those alleys, and there's never really a boring moment. It's not a film of just talking heads. It's like, the woman that you see in the trailer, Gina, she's got a lot of spunk, and she's got a lot of tenacity, and she's like, I've come to really enjoy her as a person and as a friend. She's a little bit older than me, but I look older than her, so it's funny because it's like I kind of feel like she's like a older sister, but she's like, I look older, so I don't know. It's just one of the things. I hope people enjoy it. I hope people enjoy the film, but they're frustrated with what they learn. And then, the hope is that then it would like generate more like traction and push the Phoenix police. It's not my opinion that they're incredibly corrupt. One of the things that you learn about in the film is that the Department of Justice launched an investigatory probe into Phoenix Police Department while we were filming. So it became part of the film.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you learn, like, this place is wicked. Like, these people are wicked, dude. Are there good ones in the Phoenix Police Department? I'm sure of it. But there's so much corruption and misconduct. Their police chief turnover, really over, like, the past 2 decades. I mean, it's like, my gosh, this place is really wicked. So, I just hope people get frustrated, and doing these episodes that more podcasters, they want to look into it, and then and hopefully when our film comes out, and I would say like, man, 2 months, 3 months, maybe max, it becomes like the source for the intel needed to do the episodes. And so I'm willing to do 100 podcast episodes. I'll do as many as it takes to get noise going for this kid.
Yeah, I was actually about to ask you, like, how would you feel about, just podcasts, even like if they didn't bring you on and they were just like, well, I watched this documentary, let's talk about it.
Yeah, that's the hope. That's hope.
Yeah.
And I know Gina as well, as we've spoken about it, that, she and I are even willing to do podcasts, like interviews together after the film comes out. And, kind of talk about it. And I don't know. It was, the making of something like this is wild. It's a wild process, like. So the drive from LA to Phoenix is just a little bit shy of that. It's like six hours. Mm-hmm. But like if you hit the traffic wrong, dude, it's like an 8-hour drive. And so that wears on you. We would drive. There were days where we would drive in with load the van up, all the cameras, all the gear. We'd make the entire drive, get there, set up for interviews, and then have interviews that night. Those days were long.
Wow.
Yeah, we'd have such packed schedules, and we'd be going 15, 18 hours a day, 4 or 5 days. And then one trip I was out there for like 11 or 12 days or something. It's just like, bruh.
Cow.
And 110 degree heat day after day after day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the mark of someone doing something great and good.
It's not in the film, but I'll share it. I may put some stuff out about it. Like the making of this film would almost even be a better documentary than the documentary. It's been a mess. Like the stuff that we would deal with, the people, like one of the news networks in Arizona had mentioned the film and like Brianna's cold case and how like it drew our attention and, an LA film companies coming in and working on a film. And then a few months later, that article vanished.
What?
But I had pulled the article down and had saved the PDF file. And I have this whole conversation recorded where I go back and forth with the news network. And I'm like, they gave me this story about how they did some sort of migration and how like a lot of the stories didn't get carried over. And I made a comment like, well, I see car shows and ice cream sundaes. Those stories got carried over. But the homicide of the girl in the alley, the child, you didn't carry that one over. But hey, I'm glad you brought that car show over. And I said, I will forward you the PDF of your article. I have the exact, just repost it. So they finally reposted it and they took out any mention of the film.
What?
But to go with what you're saying, whatever. Like, just keep the article up about the girl, man. She needs her story told. So, again, it's like, you deal with that kind of stuff. People don't, I don't know. Everyone's, I don't know, man. It's weird.
Being into true crime myself, obviously, it takes a pretty big mental and emotional toll. How did you kind of balance that during the making of this film?
I don't think I did balance it well in the beginning because it was like, it's the first time that you sit down. Let me say it like this. When one sits down behind a camera, lights, camera, and there's someone in front of you and they're telling you their heart about their best friend that was murdered and nobody cares from their perspective. Like, okay, that's heavy. And then the next friend comes in, and then the boyfriend comes in, and then the mom, and then the other friend's mom, and then the people that, her teachers, and then, community members and law enforcement. We interviewed with the fire chief that pronounced Brianna dead in that alley. I sat in the fire station in front of those fire trucks with him. And you just, it's just that each one of those, it just kind of adds up. It adds up. It adds up. So then you start to think like, wow, I have a son. He is 17. He's about to be 18 in like 2 weeks. He's about to now be older than Brianna never got to be, and you start thinking about like, wow, I know what it's like to have a child of that age. I know what I can't imagine what it would be like to lose him. I don't know. So how do you balance it? I don't know. I don't think initially I did very well. I'm in a good headspace now about it. It's like, again, I hold out hope for the people that wanted to be paid, that they'll come around. And then her family, again, I hold out hope for them. But, there are some strange birds out there, Raven.
Mm-hmm. You're telling me. I know all about it.
There are some strange birds out there.
Okay, so you have been kind of promoting the film. You've got the trailer out. What kind of response from the public have you gotten about this?
Well, the first trailer we actually did at the whole process took about 4 years. So in about 2 years, I realized that we needed to churn up some more interest. Maybe some people would come forward and talk more, and it absolutely worked. Like, wow. We got a lot of the interviews that we needed, and honestly, that the Phoenix police need. We got because we were willing to put a trailer out like way in advance it's an unsolved thing, and it's like a case is like the real world is like evolving and revolving. It's like we didn't know how long it was going to take, so we got a lot of great interest from that one. And then we just did the trailer that you saw, which is if I could clean up what I'm saying, the initial trailer was designed to just get more leads, get more interviews, to bring more interest.
Yeah.
It wasn't really designed to reflect the real film.
Yeah.
So it's still out there, I think.
That's genius, by the way.
It works. It works. We'll be doing it for all the films. And so then, but the last one, the one that just a few months ago that you saw, that's a great reflection of the feel of the film. The song that you hear, Raise Cain, is I wrote that song, that singer's from Arizona. That's in the film, and then a whole bunch of other like these kind of spiritual songs like that. And then there's like the orchestral score. It's like it's a world, it's just not it's not an episode of Dateline, which I love. But it's just not that. It's like an actual, it feels like a cinematic documentary. It's unlike anything I've ever watched, and I'm proud to be the one behind it, to be honest. I'm at 46 minutes as of today. The score is 2 hours and 31 minutes-ish.
Wow.
And I've mixed 46 minutes of it. And, but yeah. I even hired some people to start tomorrow to take even more workload off of me from other things that we do here at Crime Sonics. And so I have new assistants coming in tomorrow. You guys do all that. I'm focused on this film. And I know when we get close, when I'm about 30 minutes out of mixing that score, I'm just going to stop looking at where is the sun out the window. I don't care what time of day it is. What time does the clock say? I don't care. I'm just going to work from up to drop. I just got to get this thing done.
Yeah. So let's talk about the soundtrack just a little bit. The soundtrack is going to be on the film. Are we going to be able to listen to any of this apart from the film, say like Spotify or something like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And even, well, let me say a couple things. Now, as a composer, not even a filmmaker now, but just as a composer, I wanted to write something that I had never heard in a, quote unquote crime kind of piece of content or film. And so it really is, the violinist and I, when he was learning all the parts I had written, I think he came up with this phrase where he called it folk adjacent. It's not an Celtic adjacent. It's not Celtic. It's not like in Ireland or something. It's not a folksy score at all. I grew up in a bluegrass family, and I'm from St. Louis, and I spent a lot of time in Missouri, so in Middle America. And so even though I hear and write concert violin, this score blurs the line a little bit between fiddle playing and classical virtuosic violin playing. So when I was writing these melodies and hearing them, a lot of them just kind of come to me. There was a very specific style to play. And then we adopted that same style across viola and the cello. And the score is recorded in a way where the violin, viola, and cello are very up front and very close mic'd. It was done right here in this same room I'm in the studio here. And you can hear the hair of the bow on the string. It is very intimate. It's a very, very intimate score. Having said that, throughout a lot of the score, you still experience the size of the orchestra. And then there are moments where you will feel like, okay, that's crimey, that's it. That's the pulsy kind of vibe. That's what I kind of expect. But then it's still like the icing, on the cake, cherry on top, is these solo instruments performed by world-class players. The violinist asked the same question that you asked. It's like, hey, when we're done with this, is you gonna release this? Because this is a world. You gotta put this out there. And I said, yeah, I absolutely plan on it. So the goal is I get everything mixed. I'll go through a revision process and make sure that it's just right. The sound is right. So there's the musical score, and then there's the songs that feature an Arizona singer that you hear in the trailer. That'll all be put together, and I'm just gonna do a few things. One, it will be released on iTunes, Spotify, and all that. I am gonna put just a long burn video in score order, in film order, of the entire 2.5 hours of score on YouTube. I'm just gonna put a video up. It's just gonna be the poster, and then hit play. And then you can just literally watch that film audibly
That's such a cool concept.
It was a highlight. Yeah, I've written thousands of pieces of music, but this one was a highlight for me. It is a highlight of my musical career to have sat in here. It took me about, I think, 90 days, maybe a little less, to write. I ended up writing over 3 hours of music, but then I rejected about 30 minutes of my own music. The music was awesome. I'm biased. I loved it. I wrote it. That was awesome. But it didn't fit this, like I alluded to with the Department of Justice and the Phoenix Police. When you learn about South Phoenix and the police department, and then the DOJ investigation, and then how like they handle their homicides, and like when you learn all about that stuff in the film, it's kind of like you're watching little mini documentaries within the greater documentary. A lot of news footage. It's a vibe. It's a different feel in the film. And I didn't hit that right at first. When I first wrote the music, I had this whole idea and I went with it and I kind of chased the creativity. And then when I sat back and I'm looking at it on the big screen here, I'm also the director. And I have to turn off the composer. And then the director in me, it was immediate. Nope, that ain't it. That was not the music. So when I got everything done, I came back, fresh blank session, and I just began to write in the opposite way that I wrote. And what I ended up with is some of my favorite music in the film. So I don't know how deep and nerd you want to get on that part of it.
Go deep, man. I love it.
Okay, all right, well, I'll go nerdy on it. So since the score predominantly is the solo violin, and it's not that it's just solo violin, not against all kinds of accompaniment and background. It's all there. It's just that violin is right up front, and it's telling the story. When I went to rewrite all those parts to those little mini documentaries, I thought, well, let's don't use violin at all. Let's just completely omit that instrument as it doesn't exist now. And then what if we were to create music based on simple harmonies that cycle counterclockwise based on what's happening on the screen, so you can't really they're in time, but you can't count them the first pass. It's going to take a musical nerd to figure it out. And then let's lock in with the viola and the cello. You may or may not be aware of this, but a lot of times the viola is just kind of like the overlooked stepsister of the violin in the orchestra. Never gets loved. It's a major part of this score, and so like the violists out there are going to just love this score because there's 40 minutes of viola in this, and so I don't know, that music ended up being this really interesting kind of. It's like this percolating undertone driven by viola and cello. I don't know. It's really cool. It's different. I've never heard anything like it. Like it's one of those things where like sometimes you'll sit in here and you'll reference other scores, other composers, kind of get in a headspace. I did none of that for this entire film. There's things I've heard in the past. I thought like that might be a good starting point, but I didn't reference anything to write the score. I just wanted to write what I felt and what I heard in my own head based on my own experience of being in this world of 4 years and editing every frame of that footage.
Wow. So cool. Tell me about the main title song, Raise Cain.
Yeah, Raise Cain, cool song.
It has lyrics, and here's the thing about, well, at least what I've heard, of it. It reminds me of those old school, I guess you would just call them murder ballads that people used to write, because that's how you would, tell people about what happened, sharing music, sharing stories through music. And I just think that that's like such an interesting idea to modernly kind of bring that back, but in an advocacy sort of way. So I was just kind of wondering about the lyrics for that.
You just got hired as my publicist, like that. You totally nailed it, and you got it, and you just articulated that better than I think anyone has understood it thus far. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
The main song is called Raise Cain. There's another one that, and actually when we're done here today, I'll send you some of everything that I'm mixing. I'll send you a couple of them. Another one is called Boogeyman. There's another one in the song called Down in the Alley.
Oh, wow.
And there's one of my favorite ones in the film is called Soul Mama. And then that singer is also featured throughout the score a little bit. And there's an alternate version of Raise Cain in the edit. It's like slow, and her voice kind of pops in and out at key times.
She's amazing, by the way. Amazing singer.
She is an amazing singer, and she's. I don't want to mess up her artist name, so I'm not going to share it. But it'll be in the credits, and go find her. But
Okay.
let me tell you how I found her, and then how it all tied into how these songs came about.
Sure.
Again, I'm here in LA. I was down in the Hollywood area at a vintage flea market, and I hear this soul singer. I hear this voice. And I was floored. I couldn't tell where it was coming from, but it was like, we're going to go find that one. And so we start walking around, and you hear this voice, and I come around the corner. You know, in my mind, I just had like a preconceived notion of the kind of person I was going to see singing that way and with that tone. And the person that I saw did not fit.
Wow.
That voice coming out of that person, these two things were like, whoa, I did not expect that. I'm even more interested in this voice now. This is a neat thing here. And so that was 2 or 3 years prior to me even starting this film.
Oh, wow.
And this film took 4 years. So I heard that voice years ago.
Wow.
But I pocketed it away, and I thought, there will come a time where I will need that voice. I did not know that she was actually from Arizona. I just met her here. And so when I'm out there working on this film, there was a day where it was about 114 degrees, and I needed to get a bunch of the desert B-roll. And so I'm out in this area in Arizona called Apache Junction near the Superstition Mountains, and it is awesome. It is so pretty, and it's desolate, and it's dangerous. And just think rattlesnakes and cacti and salamanders, it's just, you can die out there very easy. If you don't have water, it's scary. Jeez. It was so hot that day. I was out there filming, I was wearing some Jordans, and the tops of my feet were so hot because the sun was hitting the shoes and heating up my feet. It was that hot out there.
God.
As I'm out there that day, I started hearing in my head, Raise Cain for the preacher's son. And I was like, huh. I started hearing the song Raise Cain. So I went in the car and I started singing. I sang the whole song in there. And it has all these lyrics that talk about the story, and actually even talk about some of the other crimes that we learned about while filming this. Like, we interviewed a pastor, his son was tragically murdered in South Phoenix. It's unsolved. His sister was murdered. We uncovered a molestation by a lady from a guy who's in the film, and there's a lot of stuff. It's bad.
Jeez.
And all that's just weighing on me. And so I just wrote it into this song, Raise Cain. And then on the way back, I probably had an hour ride back. All those songs just start flooding me. And they are written as old spirituals, it's how they sound. And I just wrote them all in an instant and in their entirety. And the demos that I sang into my phone you could almost just take that demo off my phone and slap it into the big score, and it would just sit right in there. The ideas were fully formed.
Wow.
There was no guesswork, no need to come back and figure out anything. They were just done. Done. So I give that to the Lord. Where does that come from? I don't feel like I wrote those songs.
But it's also kind of kismet and full circle, and kind of ties everything together.
I'm excited. I want the world to hear it. I can't wait. I'm more anxious to get the thing out than people who are blowing my phone up. Dude, where is it at? I'm trying.
Yeah. Well, where can people follow the journey and follow you for release dates and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's great. It'll be all over crimesonics.com, and where to be able to see it. There'll be click-throughs even. So we already got one streamer license guarantee, already. Just tell us when it's done. We're putting it on our platform. So That was nice. And then we're working with an aggregate company. It's going to be on pretty much everything.
You can watch Girl Forgotten: What Happened to Brianna Wells, now streaming on Fossum.
Love it. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and again, I can't wait for people to learn about it, share about it, do podcast episodes, use the film as a resource, use me as a resource. And I hope, again, now not the filmmaker in me, but the composer in me, I hope people do find a love and appreciation for the meticulous writing of the score. It is absolutely a place where you can put your headphones on, close your eyes, and sit for 2.5 hours and feel all the emotions.
Yeah. I can't wait for it. I appreciate you so much for being here with me today. So
I mean, you're high level. You Raven. You got 2 books. Who am I? Like you got it all going on. So
just spin and look behind you on your wall. I don't have any of those.
What?
Yeah,
what?
There they are.
She's talking about some paperweights.
Yeah, right. And congrats on all that too, by the way. You're doing some great work, and I can't wait to see this documentary and be able to share it with literally everyone. So
thank you. And you never know, maybe we'll come back and we'll do a follow-up, because once you
for sure
once you learn everything, you're gonna be like, bro, we gotta talk.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be like, excuse me, you did not tell me about
what.
But so. I do like that, because I do other projects too, and I'm very big on like spoiler alerts. I don't want to spoil anything for the creators. I want whatever your story you're trying to tell, I want you to tell it. And I want to sit here and, tell everybody exactly what they're going to see or what they're going to hear, read or whatever.
Yeah, and maybe the last thing I would say, and thank you for that, which is, most of the time when you learn about a case or you watch like a film or an episode of Crime TV, you're learning about a victim, and then you learn about the people. This is not that. You do all of that, but this is through the eyes of Gina. This is Brianna's homicide through the eyes of a woman who watched the toll it took on her daughter because her daughter's friend was murdered. And then ultimately the toll that it's taken on Gina. And so it's just,
You're kind of a fly on the wall. You're a third party.
Yeah, Brianna is the topic, but Gina is the story.
Yeah.
I'll leave it there.
Since recording this conversation, I was incredibly honored to be invited by Dan Brown Jr. to lend vocals to the backing choir of the film's haunting main theme, Raise Cain. As someone deeply connected to storytelling and advocacy, being able to contribute even a small part to that experience was something truly meaningful to me. Thank you to Dan for allowing me to take part.
Always.
Thank you for listening to this chapter of conversations with some of our world's dark storytellers. This story may be over for now.
The next chapter is always waiting to be written.
Until then.
Dreadfully yours, Raven Rollins.